Well, welcome back to the next Prologic versus match, and today I'm up against Iain. It's about time you
debut appearance on the versus series. I'm quite looking forward to it actually. I feel like they've sort of set me up as a beginner challenge at the minute. Obviously Curly will come later on. Got Luke on this one.
God, you're jumping right into Curly's space, aren't you?
Yeah, that's it.
Okay, so we are venue choice. Sometimes from me hasn't been my strong point, and this is one of them venues which could go that way.
Yes, definitely.
If it goes well, it could go very well, and we could have some good fish.
Yes, there's a lot of good fish to go at, isn't there?
There is.
A lot of decent sized fish, which is nice.
Yeah.
But there is also that fairly high potential that there could be absolutely no fish, especially with the time of the year that we're in.
Yeah, exactly. So we're mid-November now. I think it is actually the 15th today, isn't it?
15th, 16th.
So pretty much bang on mid-November, but the weather is very much in our favour. So we're at Westlake in Chichester, which is a day ticket lake. It's 16 acres in size and it has 16 swims, but only 2 of those are occupied.
By us.
By us. So that's a really good proposition, but it can also be a really bad one, because if the fish aren't where we think they are, then they could be a long way away and there's no one to move them about.
Yeah.
So I mean, it could really go either way.
We've seen signs, haven't we?
We have. We've spent a lot of time here this morning, haven't we? Having a good look round.
Yeah, because basically this whole video depends on us catching fish within that 24-hour time frame.
It does.
So you've got to set up on fish.
Exactly. Fingers crossed we have. We've definitely seen fish showing in front of us, in front of these two. Basically, we've chosen 2 swims already, because like I say, we've got the pick of the lake to ourselves. So we got everything round to the swims as soon as we could, because like I say, we'd seen the fish, didn't want anyone else getting in these swims, but also the weather was horrendous this morning.
Yeah, I mean, when I started at CARPology, I understood there was going to be some tough days, but carrying all that kit round when it was hammering down and the wind was hacking across, like, oh yeah.
Yeah, needless to say, there's not a barrow montage, because we really just had to get round, get bivvy set up and try and keep everything as dry as possible, which didn't go too well, but we are in our 2 swims. Yeah. So we've done things a little bit differently. Normally we'd choose the 2 swims, we'd flip for it, and then whoever wins gets to choose and such. But it hasn't kind of panned out that way for a couple of reasons. Firstly, because the weather, we literally needed to get bivvies up. We've each got our own bivvies. And secondly, the 2 swims we've chosen kind of work to both of our, not our strengths, but our kit.
Yeah, definitely. So Luke's got some 12 footers and I've got 10 footers. Luke's swim's got a lot of open water. Mine's got a nice sort of mouth between a bay and the open water. So yeah, like I say, it works for the kit that we've brought with us.
Yeah, exactly. And we were both happy with these swims because, like I said, we have seen fish here. So it was just a case of getting ourselves sorted before we actually start filming. And even now, I'm looking around, it's very, very dark.
Yes, it's looking very gloomy.
I think it's pretty much a case of getting everything sorted, getting the rods ready to go, and then kicking it off and getting them out for 24 hours.
Let's do it. Exciting.
Okay, so found a spot, and it didn't really pay off the fact that I was in the open water swim, because I'm fishing at about 60 yards. So it's 15.5 wraps, which I think is maybe 62 yards, 64 yards, something like that. And basically just beyond that it feels like quite like a dying weed bed. So just bringing it back slightly, it goes to a really nice gravelly area. And I'm gonna move and throw out all the camera angles, but I don't know if you'll see this. This was a new marker lead and it is absolutely battered. So it's going down with a proper crack. Not that I can feel it, because I forgot my spot and marker rod. So I'm using one of my fishing rods, which are pretty stiff rods, but the line it's got a fair bit of stretch in it because it's just mono. So I can't actually feel the drop properly, but that is indication enough that there is a proper drop. And then once I'm actually started pulling through the swim, I can feel just how gravelly it is. So yeah, very pleased with what I found out there. Like I say, it's a nice comfortable distance as well, at 15.5 wraps. So should be able to bait it fairly effectively, even if that is on my normal fishing rod. So I'm hoping I can get away with using a 𝘃𝗶𝗀𝗲 on this and it's not going to snap off, because If it does, then it's a little bit far for catapult range with the wind pushing in, so getting bait out might be an issue. So I might be fishing stringers if I can't actually get a bit of bait out. But I'm wanting to put bait out because I know we've said it's mid-November. Normally you wouldn't be putting much bait out this time of year, but it's still so warm and there's a massive pressure drop today. I think it's dropping down to under 970, which is quite a drop considering what it has been at. So I think there is a good chance of a bit of a feed up with this wind coming in. I really think it's going to be moving these fish down. We haven't seen as much during the day now, but I do think on dusk we're going to start seeing them kind of lumping closer and closer to us, moving with this wind. So yeah, I'm happy with that spot. I'm going to put 2 on it, I think, and I'm going to keep a 3rd rod for if I see something, and then just, yeah, like I say, maybe getting a little stringer to a showing fish, because it really can pay off and it really can get the bonus fish. But yeah, I'm going to focus on the spot that I've actually found for now, get some bait out there. I think given the conditions, I think I might put about 10 spoms out if it doesn't snap off. So I want to get a bit of bait out there. Just going to use boilies. I'm not using anything else, so purely boilies, mixture of 𝘃𝗶𝗶𝗀 and heat, and that's going to be kind of soaked in a little bit of oil, not too much, because obviously the time of year temperatures are dropping, but not dropping enough to warrant going proper minimal on bait. So that's kind of the plan from my end. I'm going to pass you over to Ian. He'll talk you through the plan his end, and then we can finally start this match, get the rods out, get some bait out, hopefully bag one of the whackers.
Okay, so let's take a moment just to run you through what I think is going to help me get a fish and beat Luke in this session. Fingers crossed. There's a lot riding on this, mainly my reputation and your entertainment. But anyway, let's get into it. So I found a really nice sort of gravelly area. It's really close range. It's 9¼ wraps, so perfect for 10 footers. It's going to be nice, easy fishing. I'm going to put 2 rods on that. It's plenty big enough. And the 3rd rod, I'm going to just set up with a running chod rig, and I'm just going to leave it on the rest until it gets to dusk. There's bound to be the odd fish show in the area, and I'm going to chuck a bright one straight at it. And you never know, that might produce a quick bite. That's what I'm really going for. I just need to get off the mark as quickly as I possibly can and try and put Luke on the back foot. We both know he loses his head extremely quickly, and I'm relying on that to get me the win on this session. As far as the baiting approach goes, as Luke mentioned earlier, it is mid-November. It's still quite warm for this time of year, but it's still obviously chilly compared to summertime. So I don't want to put a lot of bait out. I'm going to do 3 bait stringers on the 2 rods that are going on the spot, and then I'm going to catapult, just, you know, maybe a handful of catapults over the top of the rods, try and get some fish moving around on the area and hopefully catch them unaware. Fingers crossed it's going to happen fairly early. I'd like to do it in daylight so that I can get the rods set up for the night. If I'm honest, I think the bites are going to come through the night, or maybe first light in the morning. Fingers crossed. I really need to get fish in the bag. So as we mentioned earlier, we did see a few fish in the area, but the wind is absolutely hammering down into this little bay. And yeah, I'm really hoping that it's going to bring the fish along with it. One thing it's definitely bringing along with it is a lot of floating dead weed. So the rod tips are going to be right down in the water. Try and stop that weed wiping out my lines. Yeah, let's get on with it.
Okay, Ian, are you ready?
Yeah, ready when you are.
24 hours from now.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. We got a couple of rods out each, and the weather really started to take a turn for the worse. In terms of fishing, it looked bang on, but in terms of filming, it really wasn't great. I couldn't ignore the conditions, so I had to get some bait out. Got about 15 spoms out, and after some weak phone footage from Ian, we retired for the night. After 15 hours of darkness and torrential rain, we were finally treated to a sunrise, and one of us was lucky enough to have one in the sling.
Well, good evening and good morning. Last night was a complete write-off. We got the rods out and the heavens opened, and I think it's been raining now for this is the first break in rain that we've had for what?
12 hours.
12 hours.
14 hours. It's been horrendous.
Literally the worst weather I've
yeah.
ever fished in.
Yeah, I think it is the heaviest rain that I've ever fished in.
Yeah.
Needless to say, we couldn't film much because the camera's on waterproof and we're barely waterproof. But we are waterproof thanks to these lovely suits, which we'll come on to later in the video.
Yeah.
So a couple of new suits from Prologic, which I think they have actually been lifesavers. But
Yes.
that's another point
We'll
that
do that later.
we will address. It just seemed a bit too good of an in to
Yeah,
not mention
to let
them.
it go. Yeah, fair enough.
So yeah, not a lot happened last night. It was very quiet apart from the rain. But something did happen your way, didn't it?
Yeah, so...
Do you want to talk about the long slimy thing, or...?
Wow,
that's quite leading.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to talk about that. I'd like to forget it entirely. Basically, I think it was around midnight. I had a take on the left-hand rod. Got all excited, thinking it was the first fish of my first versus match, and it turned out to be an eel. And
yeah,
I mean, I'm not a fan of snakes, and that is basically a snake in water. So
yeah. So I was in my bibby and I got rang up by Iain, and he sounds like a little girl, kind of like just hiding away from it.
Yeah.
Like, oh, there's an eel.
Yeah.
I don't know what to do with it.
Yeah.
So once that was sorted, obviously back to bed, back to sleep.
Yeah.
And then something else happened.
Yeah. So about probably half hour, 45 minutes ago, just before the light came up, had another take. Left hand rod again. This time looks like maybe a 16 sort of upper mid double common. So yeah.
Yeah, so
very
we
happy.
get out and weigh it and obviously do a bit of footage with it. But yeah, first blood goes to Iain. First fish of your versus career.
Yeah.
So yeah,
It's exciting.
nice to get off the mark. Nice to have one for the video. And we've got, is it till about 3 o'clock today?
Yeah,
I think,
about 3, yeah.
until the 24 hours finishes. And to be fair, the weather looks bang on. It looked really good yesterday until the heavens opened. But today it looks really good as well. And I think part of the reason that we saw fish in these swims is because it gets the first bit of sun of the day. So the sun's rising just to our left and it's beaming down onto these swims. We've still got the wind coming in this way as well. And we have seen a couple of fish that are probably kind of double the range that I'm fishing, but they're out in that area. So we're still hoping that they're going to be moving across, moving down, and then moving onto our rods. So everything's kind of set. I did put out a bit more bait yesterday. I probably put about 15 spoms out in the rain, which was awful, but it felt necessary given the conditions, given the time of year and the fact that it's not that cold. I wanted a bit of a base out there. I put the third rod on that spot as well because we couldn't even see, let alone try and see fish to put a third rod onto. So I knew I was fishing a spot, so I thought I'll put all 3 onto that and then put a bit of bait over it. So far that hasn't worked, but it feels like it could do a couple of bites. It's early now.
I do feel like there is literally any minute.
Yeah,
it could happen.
big time. This match is far from over.
I mean, I feel like I've kind of already won, but
that's my head goes.
No.
But your head's like exploded.
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah, but
like,
what you guys don't see off camera is Luke going, "Oh, don't think it's going to happen. It's not going to happen."
Right, let's cut to your fish. Come on, let's end this now.
Okay, there he is. Whole 15 pound, 8 ounces of him. Not the biggest fish in the lake, but mid-November on a day ticket that I've never been to and fished before. I'm very pleased. It's fantastic to get off the mark. Unfortunately, there is still quite a bit of time left. So there's definitely the opportunity for Luke to get a fish and potentially snatch that win from me. Let's get this one back. I think we're going to have a cup of tea and then I'll get the rods recast. Yeah, fingers crossed for another one this morning.
Well, it's just coming up to 11 o'clock now and nothing has happened in my swim whatsoever. So I'm going to redo my rods. Now, I'm not putting more bait out, I'm just going to literally redo them. And the reason being, when I put them out last night, it was in all that wind and rain and it was horrendous. And I thought I was on the money, but I might not have been. And the wind has dropped off a little bit now, so I think I can get them out a lot more accurately for the last few hours. I mean, I should have probably done this about 7 o'clock this morning, but I was confident that they were on the spot and that it could have done something. But now obviously bite time is kind of going, it's going away, and I'm getting a little bit desperate. Then I've got to try and put it in my favour a little bit. To be honest, I haven't really seen much out there, and so it's not like it's worth bringing a rod in and putting it on a showing fish because nothing's really showing. I mean, it could be, but obviously we've still got to chop on the water and it can be hard to see shows in that instance. But yeah, I'm gonna get them back out for the last few hours in the hope that I can nick something, because it's still all to play for. I mean, Iain having that mid-double common, it can easily be beaten. There's so many fish that are bigger than that in here. So one fish can completely turn it around, but I've got to catch that one fish. So I'm going to bring the rods in now, get them back out, and hope that we can have something before the end of this session. We've got literally like 4 hours left. So let's do it, let's make it happen.
So you may have already heard me moaning just a little bit about how tough this session has actually been. That being said, it's been made a lot more bearable because of this. This is the Avenger camo suit from the guys over at Prologic, and yeah, it's been a bit of a lifesaver. Last night, the bailiff popped round to visit us. It was absolutely hammering it down with rain, but we stood outside for probably nearly an hour trying to get some tips and information off of the guy, and yeah, I was bone dry underneath. I've literally got a t-shirt on and some shorts under the salopettes, and I'm warm, I'm comfortable, I'm dry. It's mid-November. I've got no right to be wearing just a t-shirt and a jacket this time of year. You know, I should be cold, but I'm not. Really nice thick padding. As far as the waterproof material goes, it's 8,000mm hydrostatic head, which is more waterproof than, well, quite a few bivvies that are on the market. So yeah, you've got no problems there. It's also nice and breathable, so you don't have to worry about it getting all sort of sticky and nasty inside. When it comes to the hood, you've got a nice adjustable peak on the hood section. It's a nice big hood as well, so if you want to wear a woolly hat under it, that wouldn't be a problem either. The cuffs on the arms are Velcro, so you can adjust those so that it's comfortable. Obviously, sometimes if you're wearing a thick hoodie under this sort of thing, you need that cuff to just be a little bit looser, so that's not an issue with this. All of the zips are water repellent and they're two-way, so you can zip them down and up. It just enables easy access for some of those tasks that you may need to do when you're out on the bank. When it comes to pockets, the two main pockets in both the jacket and the salopettes, they're kind of fleece lined, which obviously being a winter suit, it's nice to keep your hands warm. There's also internal pockets on both bits of kit. Now, most people will probably use this for their phone or receiver, but we use it for mic packs, and yeah, it's fantastic for that. Other zips that are involved, you've got nice big zips on the bottom of the salopettes there so that you can unzip them. They come almost like halfway up the sort of to your knee height, and that way you'll be able to slip the salopettes on and off without taking your boots off if you want. Personally, I'd rather take the boots off because I don't want mud all up the inside of the salopettes, but you know, each to their own. Now you may be thinking to yourself, why exactly do I need a winter suit? And basically, if you want to put more fish on the bank through winter fishing, something like this is the first thing that you need to do. If you're comfortable when you're fishing, you'll fish more effectively, you'll stay longer, and you'll stand out in that nasty weather in case you see something. If you don't know where the fish are, you're not going to catch them, and this is an invaluable tool when it comes to that type of thing. I remember when I first started fishing, almost sort of 15 years ago, I went to the Sandown show with a friend, and sure enough, there they were, Prologic winter suits. They've been making these types of clothing for such a long time. That's why they're so good at it. That one that I had all those years ago was absolutely fantastic, and it lasted me plenty of time, and I'm sure this one will do the same. When it comes to costs, this one is $155 for both parts. Now, it sounds like a lot of money, but can you really put a price on comfort throughout the winter months? So we're in the last few hours of the versus match now. Technically, I am still winning it on that one fish, but after all the hard work we put in that rain yesterday, I feel like we've deserved more fish. I feel like I should have had more fish, and Luke certainly should have had some fish because he was out there spodding in all that rain last night. It looked horrendous from me sitting in the warmth of my bivvy. I've just reeled a rod in because I just saw a fish a bit further out than my spot, so I thought I'd rebait it, recast, and just try and nick one sort of at the death, if you like. As far as rigs go, like all of my fishing, I like to keep it really straightforward and really simple. It's an extremely basic KD rig, manufactured out of a really soft sort of coated braid. I strip the top section off to give an even softer sort of hinge bit at the end there, a curved shank hook, and then I use one of the Manila Active hardened hook baits. Then to stop that tangling, because it is such a soft material, I slide down a 3-bait stringer in like a triangle formation, and that just makes the end of the hook link extremely heavy, and that just aids massively in stopping it tangling on the cast. I know when that hits the lake bed, it's all going to sort of flutter out fairly nicely, but once that PVA has melted and this hook bait becomes independent from the freebies, it's going to act extremely naturally. And I just think that's something that people don't generally do in their angling anymore. It's always a bright one, it's always a really smelly one, or it's a big one, or a small one, or a snowman, or something like that. Sometimes I think take it back to basics, and it really can just get you that extra bite. So I'm going to get this rebaited, get it back out, like I say, a little bit further than my original spot, and just try and nick one last fish. Hopefully Luke's finished making a cup of tea by now. Okay, so we're at the death now. The right-hander's just ripped off. No idea what's on the end of this. This lake has got so many sort of possibilities. Look at the bend in that rod. These little C Series 10-footers are absolutely fantastic. I love them for this type of fishing. Poor old Luke's holding the camera, wondering where it all went wrong. I think his head's gone. Let's get this one in the net. It's in. Okay, so here he is. Bit of an old bruiser, this one. 27 pound of gnarly old mirror. This is exactly why we came here. It's cracking fish. God knows how old he is. Old withered tail. Yeah, cracking fish. I'm so chuffed. And to catch it on a versus match. I'm pretty sure that means I've secured my place in the next one. They won't chuck me off the team just yet. Let's get him back. A couple of snaps. We've got 20 minutes left. So it literally is, hopefully, all done. But stranger things have happened within fishing. Let's get him back.
Yes, well done. Oh, you won your first versus match.
I did, but to be honest, I feel lucky rather than it was luck.
I wouldn't say you were lucky. You had a couple of nice fish. I mean, the common was a bit plain, wasn't it, if we're really doing that? But
yeah,
no, the mirror was definitely a fish to win it with, and that's exactly why we came to a lake like this, for the chance of a fish like that, and you made it happen.
Yeah, it paid off, didn't it? So yeah.
Well done.
Thank you. Well done to you. I know you worked hard, like watching you work hard in that rain yesterday.
It wasn't pleasant.
No.
Definitely wasn't pleasant.
So.
All right, well, I guess the next one, you've got to have a go against Curly, haven't you? I don't like that you saw this as a warm-up.
As a warm-up.
I don't like that at
No,
all.
I mean, yeah, Curly's won an awful lot of these challenges, so...
he has. He is, at this moment, actually out filming the next one against Ed from Prologic. So very much CARPology versus Prologic, that one.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure what way round you'll see these two videos, but I think the next one has got to be you versus 𝘃𝗶𝗱𝗲.
Yeah,
Which is a very different approach from both of you.
Let's see what the masses say.
Yeah.
So yeah, it'd be cool.
It will be, but yeah, it's been a struggle, as we've said throughout, and a little bit frustrated that I haven't had one, if I'm honest.
Yeah, I did think it was going to happen, like 100%. Like I thought we were going to have like a flurry of fish this afternoon. Yeah, I really did. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, we kind of sat out for an extra hour or so. We had a quick burger. We were kind of avoiding bringing rods in, but it very much is. Yeah, it is time, isn't it? We're on like hour 25, and that's not the rule. So anything now doesn't count. Yeah, I say that until something happens down there.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed the video. Hopefully you've enjoyed the clothing that we've had to show you and the waders as well. If you do want more information, then head over to the Prologic website. There's plenty of information there, and you can see all you need to see about the sizes and bits and pieces like that. But yeah.
Shall I do the other bit?
Do the other bit.
Please like this video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and make sure you hit the bell notification icon, and that way you won't miss out on any more extremely fun videos like this. We'll see you in the next one.
Cheers, see you later.